Welcome to the fourth video in this episode where we build a simple 2D platformer. In this video, we are going to be adding collectibles so you can collect them, and we are going to be making our camera move with the player so we can run across the level. Alright, so to start off adding these collectibles, what we're going to do is inside of the items folder, inside of this, we can go to the fruits folder. Here we see that we have all of these. We have apples, we have bananas, we have cherries, we have kiwi, we have melons, oranges, pineapples, and then we also have strawberries. So you can choose any fruit that you would like, but I think I'm going to choose the pineapple fruit. So I can just take this sprite and I'm going to drag it over into the hierarchy so that it will appear on our screen. So if we do this, we can have a pineapple. If we find this pineapple, it's right here, all the way down at the edge of here, and we actually want to move that. So if we can move this all the way. We can move it all the way across back to where our level actually is, and then zoom back in. You can see that it's a bit small, so we can change the scale to something like 3. And then you can see that it's a little bit bigger. So we have our first little piece of fruit right there. And then you see all of these little, these different sprites here, those are animations. So we can go ahead and create an animation for this. So if we highlight all of them, right click, create animation, we can name this pineapple or whatever fruit that you have chosen to be in your game. And then if we go and find this, we can drag this onto our pineapple. We can drag this onto our pineapple game object right now. And then if we go and find it, we can just have a little look about what this would actually look like. So if we highlight on this pineapple, click play, you'll see that the pineapple just like squeezes, goes up and down, and that looks pretty cool. So what we can do is we can go to this pineapple, and we can click loop time. We'll set this to true, just because we'd like to keep this going on forever. And if we play, we can check that when we play, this pineapple will be having the animation. We'll be able to run over it to it, but we won't be able to collide with it because it doesn't have a box collider on it. We can add that, and then we can make a game manager script that helps us collect and show how many pineapples or whatever other fruit that you chose that we have. Now you'll see that once we're in play mode, we can move around. We can go to this little pineapple thing, and you see that it's animating just like it's supposed to. So if we get out of play mode, let's now create something that will show all of the pineapples that we have. So if we right click on the hierarchy, we can create a UI and then a canvas. We can just keep the name as regular canvas because this is just going to be a canvas that shows how many pineapples that we have. So if we right click inside the canvas, and we can create a UI text mesh pro. We'll have a little pop-up that we import the TMP essentials because we haven't done that yet for this project. So if we click that, then it will import all of the text essentials so we can use this text mesh pro inside of our game. This text is going to tell us how many pineapples that we have collected, and then we're going to put a little pineapple sprite next to it just so that we know that the number next to it is how many pineapples that we've collected. When the TMP has finally imported, you can X out of it, and then if we click F, we'll see that this text is in this canvas. So what we can do in the text input for the new text, we can just put times 0, because right now we have no pineapples, we have collected none. That'll just be the default. We can move this all the way up to here, right up to the top left corner, and then let's create a little pineapple sprite next to it. So inside of the canvas, let's right click, create a UI image. We'll name this pineapple image, or whatever fruit that you've chosen. And then we can rename this text. We can name this, we'll name this how many the pineapples that we've collected. So we can just name it collected pineapples. And then inside of this image right here, it's going to look for a source image. And then you can just go to whatever sprite that you chose and then just put in one of them, and you'll see we have this pineapple sprite. I think that looks a bit small, so we can go to the scale, change it to 3, or maybe something like 2, just to make it a little bit smaller. And then we'll take this, move it over to here. And then if we go into the game view, we don't have to play, but you can see we have a little pineapple, and then times 0, that's how many pineapples that we've collected. I think maybe I'll just move this just down a bit so it's in line with that, and I think that looks nice. So what we can do is create a game manager script that tells us whenever we've collected a pineapple and then adds it to our pineapple thing. So if we go all the way back down, we're going to have to add a box collider to this pineapple, just so that we know that when we hit it, it will collide with us. So if we can add a box collider 2D to it, and you see the green outline is pretty big. So if we click this edit collider button, we can just change it to the pineapple and how big it actually is, so that we don't collide with it when we're not really near it. So once it's right next to it, we can click out of editing the collider. We can go to our final assets folder, and then inside of our scripts folder, inside the assets folder, let's right click, create a C# script. We can name this C# script Game Manager, and when we do that, we shall create a C# script. We can open up this script inside of your coding editor, and then we shall make the code to add the pineapples to the pineapple thing. When you come into this Game Manager script, you'll come across to a screen like this. We can delete the update and start methods because we don't need them right now. And then we are going to, up at the top where it has all of these usings, we can add another one. These are just things that we use to help us create our game. So we can type in using Unity Engine .ui, because we are going to be using the text and we're going to change it so we can see our how many pineapples that we've created. So inside of here we'll create a public variable, and this will be a text mesh pro UGUI. And this is just the text that we created up in the canvas. And then we'll name this pineapple count, or whatever other fruit that you have right now. And then what we'll want to do with this is we'll want to add 1 to our pineapple count every time that we have a pineapple. So to do that, we can make a public method. We can make a public void add to pineapple count, and then this will just add to our pineapple count every single time. The reason we're getting an error right here is that we don't actually want to use the Unity Engine.ui. We'll just use TM Pro, and that's the Text Mesh Pro, not Unity Engine.ui. So in add to pineapple count, we will what we'll do in this, we'll get the pineapple count text, .text, so we access the text of this, and we'll set this equal to a string. We'll do the times, and then we'll add to this, we'll add pineapples .toString, because it can't convert this integer to a string, but if we do this toString method, it takes the number, whether it be 7 or 6, and it converts it to a string, like that. So it's the times the amount of pineapples that we have. So if we go into this player movement right here, in this script, we're going to go to the top and we're going to create a public game manager. This is just a reference to the game manager script that we made right here. And then inside this game manager script, we can name this game manager. We're going to want to create a Unity built-in method named onCollisionEnter2D. Inside this method, there's one parameter named collision2D, and it's a collision. And that's the pineapple, or the thing that we're colliding with. So we can, inside of here, we'll do an if statement, and we'll do if collision, the thing that we're colliding with, dot tag. This is just checking the tag, and we can add a pineapple tag to all of the pineapples, so we know that when we collide with them. And we'll set this if this is equal to pineapple, and make sure you spell this exactly as you would like to. And we're getting an error here just because we want to do collision.gameObject.tag, just so that we know that we're accessing the game object. And then if we're colliding with this, right, if it is a pineapple, now that we've found out that this is a pineapple, we will take the game manager, the reference to the script, and we'll do dot pineapples, and then inside we'll do plus plus. And that means we're adding 1 to our pineapple count. If we go into a game manager, right, this pineapple, we can just set this to 0 right now, because this is just the pineapples. We have it set to 0. So when we click plus, when we add plus plus, that means we're just adding 1 to it. And then we can call the method. We can call this method inside of update, inside of the game manager, inside of the update method. We can do add to pineapple count, and then this means that every single frame it will be updated, so that when we update the amount of pineapples that we have, it will update on this text. So we can check this right now, and then we can collide with this pineapple and see if it adds to the pineapple. But one thing that we'll actually want to do is inside of this, right before we give it, where we add our thing, we can do collision.gameObject, or we don't have to do that. We can call the destroy method, and this just destroys the game object. So we can call the destroy method, and we'll do destroy collision.gameObject. This just destroys the game object so that it's not on the screen anymore, so that we cannot collide with it anymore. So if we go back into Unity, and then it finally compiles, we'll be able to check that if when we touch this pineapple, it destroys and it adds to our pineapple count. When the Unity editor compiles, we can create an empty game object. We can name this game manager, and we can add the game manager script to it, so that when we can add all of these pineapples and pineapple count text, so that it will update. So the collected pineapples, we know that this is our text right here. So if we go back to the game manager, we can drag this collected pineapples into the pineapple count text, so that we know that we're going to update this piece of text and not anything else that we have. On this pineapple right here, we're going to have to add a tag to it, and we'll make this tag pineapple, and make sure that if we click save and we go back into here, you see that I have an uppercase, and then inside of my Unity I made this a lowercase. So I'll actually have to change this, because string references, they have to be spelled exactly right, or else they will not be done correctly. So inside of this pineapple, we'll add the pineapple tag to it, save this up, and then check right here if the pineapple destroys and adds to our pineapple count. You'll see when we enter play mode that we have this little pineapple and the pineapple count in the corner, and then the pineapple is animating. So if we go over to it, and then you see that we cannot collide with it right now, and the reason for that is if we go to this pineapple right here, and we get out of play mode, we go to this pineapple, we check that this is not actually spelled the same as the other one. I spelled pineapple wrong inside of here. So if I respell this right, and if you spelled yours right, yours should have worked. If we go back into the Unity editor, once we've spelled this correctly, and then once it updates, we can check that that says pineapple, and then if we go back to here, this says pineapple, and then we make sure that this is correct, this destroys it, and then it adds 1 to our pineapple count. Go into our game manager, the pineapples, we set this to 0, and then the text, and then we do it times the pineapple count that we have, and then we go back into the Unity editor. Once we're back inside the Unity editor, we can click play, and then I'm just going to check that mine works now that they're both spelled correctly. If yours worked, that means yours probably did the right thing, and then that you have done everything correctly. Now that we're in play mode, we can see that this is right, and then if we go to our pineapple, and then we get an error that the object reference is not sent to an instance of an object. If we get out of here, if we get out of play mode, and then you see that we have a few errors, and then that is because we have not set the game manager inside of the player movement script. So that is okay. So inside of here, we have the game manager, so we can just drag in the game manager, and we'll have the game manager script to it. We can clear our console from the errors, go back to this animation, and then click play again. When we're inside play mode, we can see that if we go to here, our pineapple count changes and then the pineapple disappears. That is all working fine. So if we get out of here, we're going to want to create a prefab of our pineapple because we're going to want to scatter some more around our level. So we can create a new folder. We can create a folder, name this prefabs, and then inside of this folder we can just drag in this pineapple. And you'll see that this pineapple will turn blue inside of our hierarchy, and then we have a little bit of this pineapple right here. What that means is that we can just take this and drag it in to our hierarchy, and it will have everything that this same pineapple has right here. But this one we can move around, and now that we have 2 pineapples. And then if we just take this, we can duplicate this one again, move this one around maybe, around to here, and now we have 3 pineapples on our screen. So now we can get 3 pineapples, and we can change our pineapple image to the pineapples. But one thing that we should do before is make the camera follow the player around. So what we'll want to do that is we'll go into our windows. We're going to click the package manager window, and it will pop up right around to here once the Unity editor compiles. And then right now we have the packages in my assets, and it says fetching assets, and then we can go into the we can click that and go to the Unity registry, and this is just all of the packages that you can install. We can click search, and then we can search Cinemachine, and then if we go into the search, once this compiles and fetches all of the packages, we will see the Cinemachine package that we can download. When this fetches all of its packages, we'll see that we have this Cinemachine right here, and it's a smart camera tools for passionate creators. If we click install, it shall install it and add it to our Unity project. So we can make this as our camera, and this camera will just follow the player around without us having to do any coding inside of a script. once you finally have the Cinemachine opened, we can X out of the package manager, and then we can create a Cinemachine and then a 2D camera. Once this camera has been made, we can go to this virtual camera, and it's got something attached to it. It's called a Cinemachine virtual camera. And then there's a few things here: a priority, a follow, and a look at. So what we can do is inside of this follow, we can just drag the player so that this virtual camera will always follow the player. You see that it's a bit big, so we can change this priority. We can change this back to 10, and we can change this lens ortho size. We can change this down to something like 5. I'm going to change it down to 5. So now, if we click play, and we check that everything's working, we should be able to move our player across all of the levels that we created, and on to these pineapples. That they're all prefabs, so they should all work the same exact way, because unless you change one prefab, they all work the same. See that our game is working. Thank you for following along through this tutorial, and I hope you stick around for the next tutorial. If you like this video, please give our channel a like and a subscribe because it helps us out a ton.